was very young, and sat on his lap. And the guy said, Jason, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said, I want to be a school teacher and a hockey coach, just like Mr. Kachiver. Mr. Kachiver was the beloved high school or 6th grade teacher and hockey coach in my school in Evel. That's what I wanted to be. And I don't remember much else from the conversation, but the guy gave me a button. And my mom said he was really good looking. So I still have the button. Oh, I still have the button. Where'd you go here? Here we go. Still have the button. And my mom says he's still good looking. Okay? All right. So, coming through my high school, small high school, northern Minnesota, I took courses like welding. I took courses like power mechanics and plastics. I took courses like drafting, small engines. I took courses like advanced placement English, advanced biology, plane geometry. I took advanced math. So a strange, kind of a non-traditional course of study that I took. And I also took this one class called accounting. Accounting was the class that made a difference for me growing up. Things started to piece together. I kind of decided this is someplace maybe where I want to go. And then come along the local skills fair in 1987, the vocational technical skills fair, a little community college there in Evel, Minnesota, and they had an accounting competition. And yeah, I still have the article, and it says here, Jason Strukel, Evel, Minnesota, first place and a perfect score in accounting. Yeah! Okay. So, I still have the article. I still got that medal. It hangs in my classroom. It hangs on the bulletin board in my classroom, and I still have the certificate. I got them all. Okay? So, now I'm thinking, I'm going through high school, I'm getting there, I'm thinking, I'm going to St. Cloud State University, I'm going to go into accounting, I'm going to be an accountant, I'm going to change the world. Okay? So I go through, and I'm going through, and after my first year, I had my first 3 accounting classes, and I did okay, but there was something missing. There was something missing that my passion wasn't fitting with. So I went home for the summer when I was working, and I was having issues, and I was just kind of in this sulky mood, and I couldn't figure out what piece was missing. And it's just kind of that thing, do I quit going to school? Do I change what I'm doing? What do I need to do? I start paging through the old book, all the memories that I got there, and what I found was an interesting piece here. Enter Mr. Miles Ryasich. Okay? Mr. Ryasich was my accounting teacher, and I just glanced at the article, and the article said something about, as goes the class of 87, yeah, I'm dating myself there, as goes the class of 87, so does Miles Ryasich. So I'm looking back at my accounting teacher retired. When I read the article further, I had never read the article. It was in the school newspaper, and the Masabi News. I hadn't read the article. You know what the article says? After 34 years, Mr. Ryasich's most memorable moment was when 3 of his high school students finished 1, 2, 3 in the accounting competition at the skills fair. I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher. It hit. I'm a teacher. Okay? It struck me. I'm a teacher. Okay? So I head back to St. Cloud State. I go into the accounting business teacher education. I was the last group to finish there. I finished my degree there. I'm all set to go. I'm ready to go. I'm going to go be the greatest business teacher that ever came out of the state of Minnesota. I put out 107 job applications and I get nothing because I don't have any experience. That's not going to take me. I'm okay. I'm going to be the world's greatest substitute teacher for 1 year. And darn it, I was. Okay, I was. So I went out and I got some experience, and I came back after that next year, and I put out 111 applications the second year. And guess what I get? San Simon, Arizona. Small town in southeastern Arizona, 3 miles from the New Mexico border, and about 30 miles the other way of New Mexico, east of New Mexico. So I'm doing okay. I get my year of experience back there. I came back the next year for the summer. I put out 1 application. 1 application to Evelyn High School. My hometown school, they hired me. I'm a business teacher. Okay, I did it. Woo! My principal, Mr. Mullen, says, Strukel, you got to finish your vocational CTE stuff. Yeah, I got it. Okay, well, after 2 years, I didn't finish, and I kind of became a budget constraint. Okay, so no problem. I'll go to Chisholm High School. Chisholm High School, Jerry Lawrence, I teach a year there. Budgets. So that's okay. I'm not disheartened. I'll go down to the Twin Cities and teach. I can do this. I get hired at White Bear Lake Sunrise Park Middle School. So I'm working as a elementary and junior high business teacher. Things are going well. They're talking to me about CTE courses, and it was there at White Bear Lake High School that I was introduced to Marsha Markson. Okay, great young teacher. Okay, didn't know who she was at the time. We're working together, things are going great. This was a great teacher. She helped me become who I am today. Okay, and again, I had no idea who she was. Okay, she's just a great teacher. So, at the end of my second year tenure at White Bear Lake, I had still yet to finish my hours and my CTE, which was still vocational at the time, so I hadn't finished it yet. Guess what? 2 years, budget constraints, Strukel's gone. Head over to South St. Paul for a year. Had a great year teaching at South St. Paul, didn't finish my CTE. Guess what happened at the end of the budgets? Business teacher's gone. So I go back to Marsha, we're talking about things. She goes, Jason, I can help you. I know you can do this. She helps me get into Eden Prairie High School. Living the dream. 13 business teachers, coaching football, won a state championship there with Coach Grant. Life is good. Okay, things are going well. Didn't finish my CTE. Okay. At the end of the year there, we go from 13 business teachers, I believe, down to 8 with budget constraints. Okay. So at that point, Jason said, that's enough, I'm done. I'm done with business. I'm done with teaching. I went over to mortgage temps. They put me at Wells Fargo at the Honeywell Center, downtown Minneapolis. It didn't take long. I went from a temp to a processor to an underwriter to a team lead in 6 months. In 6 months, I'm running 14 employees down at the Honeywell Center at the Wells Fargo Home Mortgage, just based on my skills that I have. Okay, I got a college degree. I'm running wild. Okay, so we get called into this big reorganizational meeting or whatever, and Tim Deere, my supervisor, is proud to present me and leading on all the results and things that my group is getting. And his boss, Pete Hackard, says he doesn't have any mortgage experience. So I know, but he's got job skills. I'm like, Pete, look, I'm a great employee. I'm doing great. Our production is up. Numbers are all good. And he goes, Jason, you don't have any mortgage experience. You're fired. I said, but I got skills. He said, you're fired. I said, okay, fine. A couple days later, at my hometown, where I was living in Cottage Grove, Lee Phillips, U.S. Bank Corporate Home Mortgage, downtown Bloomington, right next to the Mall of America down there. I get hired. Guess what? Temporary, processor, underwriter, team lead, and they said, wait a minute, we are not using your skills. Jason Strukel, you need to be in training. You need to be in training. So the next thing you know, I'm traveling the country, and I'm teaching loan officers how to use their computers and how to use the technology and stuff and the software at U.S. Bank. So things are going pretty well. Training is kind of like teaching, right? I'm doing okay. And then the question hit. I was working with some of these loan officers and things were just in passing, and one of them asked me a question. They said, Jason, what do you think from a consumer point of view, what do you think about second mortgages? How can we get people to do more or spend more or get their debt to equity ratio a little higher on their second mortgages? And I said, well, you're asking me? Give me my second mortgage on a debit card so I can buy groceries or build a new bedroom in my house. Okay? Guess what? About a month later, I'm on this huge corporate panel rolling out this plan. Rolling out this plan. Guess what? I'm traveling the country selling my story about my consumer stuff, about how we need to spend more money of our second mortgage. And so I guess if any of you have a second mortgage with U.S. Bank and that baby's maxed out of that card, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, it's partially my fault, okay? I'm sorry, okay? But I had to do it. So, it was at that point, marriage came along, and I was at the wedding that day, and there were some friends of the family there, and my friend Marcus was there, and I didn't realize it was until that point that her dad knew my dad. We ended up at a fundraiser together when my father died of ALS a few years back, and so we were, collaborating, communicating. We run into each other, and wherever at the wedding and stuff, things are going well. And unbeknownst to me, out in the, I guess what you call it, the parish, at the wedding, okay? I got a guy, a United States Senator, friend of the family, is talking to my cousin Danny. And my cousin Danny says, "Hey, what are you doing here?" And Senator Wellstone said, "I'm here supporting two of the best teachers in the state of Minnesota. What are you doing here?" And my cousin said, "Well, I'm just here for the wedding." Okay, so picture this. Here I am training loan officers to use their computers in corporate America, and I got a congressman telling me I'm a good teacher. Enter my oldest son. "Dad, there's a job opening in Virginia High School. Let's go home." I don't even have a license at this point. Okay, so I fill out the job application. I went through the process. I called my mom and said, "We're going out to lunch." I got the interview. Leaving the interview, on my way home, before I got to lunch with my mom, Laverne Hackley called me on the phone and said, "Jason, you are the most passionate teacher I have ever met. I want you at Virginia High School." I called my wife and I said, "Do you want to go home?" And she said, "Let's do it." Okay, so after all this time, I said, "My license is expired. I don't even have, I can't even teach anymore." My principal said, "I can fix that. I can get you a 1-year extension," thank you to the state of Minnesota. And I was able to not only finish my requirements, so I get my license back. Guess what else I finished? They took all those hours away. I took 2 classes. Next thing you know, I got a CTE license. Guess what? 10 years later, I'm still teaching in Virginia High School. 10 years later, more than $100,000 from Perkins funds for my high school. I'm still rolling in Virginia. And you know what I get to do now? I get to coach hockey. I get to coach football. And I get to teach. I love every minute of every day. Okay? That's what we're not done yet. We're just getting started. Okay? So, the last 3 years, I've been fortunate enough again to travel the country, doing breakout sessions all over the place, discussing my topic of integration of technology into the classroom. Okay, and it's starting to come out there a little bit. And if last week in Dallas is any indication at NCPN, people are starting to listen. Okay, so things are starting to make a difference out there. So. Looking back, at the end of the day, what do you got? Well, you've got an unknown, inspired business teacher from the Iron Range in northern Minnesota who is standing in front of you today telling you that CTE works. You can make a difference with CTE. You can make a difference with CTE. All of you can make a difference, CTE.